Assyrians and the Babylonians all used. However, once again, I think it's very difficult to try to decide that a reference to a chariot, a feared weapon of the time of the Bible, is some kind of proleptic reference to weapons of the future. That's a dangerous leap to make because it ends up justifying our use of some of the most horrific inventions that we've come up with.
Besides weaponry, some believe Saddam's arrest was foretold in the book of Daniel. The same hour was the thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar, and he was driven from men and did eat grass as oxen. And his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hairs were grown like eagle's feathers, and his nails like birds' claws.
Daniel was prophesying to Nebuchadnezzar. One of his prophecies was that Nebuchadnezzar was going to go insane and end up in the field, hiding. Interesting prediction from the prophet Daniel that this man would lose his kingdom and that he would flee for his life. He would become completely disorientated. And precisely what happened to Nebuchadnezzar happened to Saddam Hussein. He hid in a hole. He was completely disorientated. It was no different.
On December 13th, 2003, Saddam Hussein was captured after a tip-off led American troops to a small spider hole concealed underground near the former leader's hometown of Tikrit. But as the debates rage on between experts, the true intentions of the prophecies are yet to be known.
When events take place in modern times, people try to look for meaning or some kind of divine activity that brought this event about. People want to look to authority. Whether they look directly to God, that might be a possibility.
Many contemporary approaches to the book of Revelation and to the second half of the book of Daniel, both of which are apocalyptic literature, eisegete the passages that they read. And by that, what I mean is that they read an agenda into the literature.
If we understand, let's say, the prophecies of Jeremiah being primarily, and I would even say almost exclusively, for the people of that time, then how is that prophecy revelation to us today? What does that mean for us today?
They need to recognize that the book of Revelation is not to be decoded against the backdrop of our newspapers and our televisions and radios.
But is it possible that the fate of the future Babylon has already been written thousands of years ago? And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the third part of men.
The prophecies of Revelation describe a nuclear war taking place in Babylon. It talks about a period of time in history when great masses of humanity would be killed, and it talks about a period of time that I believe 1/3 of the earth would be destroyed. It has to be nuclear. We may be seeing something very, very serious, a lot more dangerous, and possibly a lot closer than any of us have any comprehension of.
Today, the definition of prophecy becomes difficult for us because it isn't just that prophets have a message for our time. Prophets had a message for their time primarily, and that message to their time can often be relevant to our time as well. But that's a little different than saying that the prophets were actually imagining 2005 or 2006 when they were making their statements.